I wanted to thank you all for joining us today for this special author event. As we have the author of The Picture Book Juneteenth, Mr. Garrett here. He's going to read to us the storybook, and then he'll also, afterwards, he's going to have some Q&A. I'm going to let him tell about himself a little bit.
First of all, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Ben. I grew up in a small town out of Sherman, Texas, called Fort Texas. And I went to school at Houston Baptist University, which is now Houston Christian University. Then I went to the University of Houston in an advanced degree. I've been writing professionally for more than 20 years. This is my second picture book. My first picture book is Kicks, which came out last year about a young boy looking for the flyest pair of sneakers. It starts like this. They can't pick kicks the way you pick sticks or stones or dinosaur bones. That's all I'm going to give you this book. All right? But don't worry. Next year, April next year, the follow-up to Kicks is called Specs. All about glasses. I see some people with glasses. So next year, you can check out Specs about glasses. Then there's another book in the series. Super excited about that. So the book that I'm going to share with you today is Juneteenth. Juneteenth. How many of you have heard of Juneteenth? Raise your hand if you have heard of Juneteenth. Raise your hand if you heard of Juneteenth. Okay, yesterday, we celebrated Juneteenth. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the cover off and I'm going to explain a little bit about the art. Then I'm going to jump into the text. I'm going to read the text. And then if you have questions, you can ask me questions. And then if you want me to sign a book, I'll be happy to sign a book, okay? So I'm going to take this beautiful cover off. I'm going to ask you another question. How many of you have ever gone to Galveston? You ever visited Galveston? Galveston? Galveston is a cool spot, right? So the illustrators of this book, Reginald Adams and Samson Bimbo Adenuga, they're responsible for the big mural that you see in Galveston on 22nd and Strand. So the artists in this book, they painted that big mural that you see when you go to Galveston, and that's what we see on the front cover here. Also, when we open the book, we'll see it. Hopefully a little bit better than that. And then throughout the story, you will see the mural. So when you go to Galveston, and if you have this book, then you can say, oh, I remember when Mr. Garrett, when he talked about it in his book. What a lot of people have been telling me, they said, oh, I've taken my book to the mural. And they've gotten pictures there because they made those connections. All right. Are y'all ready to jump into it? Yeah. You ready to jump into it? Okay. All right. So we're going to jump into Juneteenth. Again, Juneteenth is a celebration. Kicks is a celebration. It's a celebration about sneakers. But Juneteenth is another type of celebration. It's a celebration of freedom and family. So let's get to it. We loaded the car in search of sounds and stars. We loaded the car in search of sounds and stars. Now, there are a lot of rhymes that are in this book, so I want you to listen very carefully to those words that rhyme. Snacks in backpacks headed to Galveston, looking for the perfect spot. We parked and walked, laughed and talked until we got to the Strand. So if you've ever visited Galveston, you'll see Pleasure Pier there, okay? You'll see the Strand, okay? You'll see the seawall. Okay? People smiled and waved as my wagon bumped down the street. My cool shades, shining mirrors blocked the bright Texas sun. So on hot days like today, Maybe you're wearing your cool shades, but the family is heading to Galveston. All right, and now that in this part of the story, they actually are in Galveston. The family is from Houston, and now they're going to Galveston. Now they're in Galveston. I think this is a good spot, Dad said, smiling at Mom. What do you think, son? I nodded as Mom reached in the bag and removed a wrapped sandwich. So yesterday, maybe you celebrated with friends and family, and maybe you had some good food, or maybe you're going to do that in the coming days, the upcoming days, right? But they're at the picnic spot. They're eating their sandwich. Well, they were about to eat, because they were about to eat when music filled the street. Drums rolled, a whistle blew, a parade began. Raise your hand if you like parades. Raise your hand if you like parades. Okay? Did anybody go to a parade yesterday? Did anybody go to a parade yesterday? Okay, awesome. So when I'm reading the story, I want you to think about what you see at a parade, what you might hear at a parade, what you might feel at a parade as well. This parade felt different, not like the 4th of July or Labor Day. Many of the people on the big bright floats looked like me. Look at those big bright floats. Look at the faces of the people. Look at the faces of the people. Marching bands high-stepped, played songs I recognized from the radio. Soulful rhythms echoed differently. Beauty queens' hands outstretched, decorated cars and trucks honked. So at the parade, you see the beauty queens there, you see the cars are nice and shiny, everybody's having a good time. People are waving, like you see people waving at parades. All right, let's see what else we see at this parade. What do you think people might be throwing at a parade for people to catch? Anybody want to guess? You can eat it. Good job, buddy. Candy, that's right. Candy, right and left. Boys and girls my size, some bigger, some with different colored eyes, scrambled to get treats. Some moonwalked and danced. Raise your hand if you like to dance. You dancing there? Okay. All right, some moonwalked and danced. Cameras caught the action. I caught red and blue beads, long plastic necklaces. Right. So these were caught. Candy was caught, while they're also catching the action. Everyone was happy, rejoicing in the ending of slavery in Texas, a national holiday, Juneteenth. So this is my favorite panel, my favorite art piece in this book, because now he's finding out why the family went to Galveston, why they went to the parade, okay? It's to celebrate the ending of slavery in Texas, and that's why they're there, not just to listen to the bands, they like listening to the bands, not just to enjoy the food, but also to celebrate freedom, as well as family. A Freedom Day that will last until night, from the Strand to the seawall, as the light bounced off the faces of so many. I searched the crowd and focused. I saw a man who looked like Papa, a white beard and shiny eyes. There was a lady who looked like Mimi, a gentle smile and smooth hands holding a snow cone. There are so many people who look like us, I said, as the smell of barbecue chicken and sausage flavored the air. So now he sees people who look like people that he knows, like his grandparents, like Papa, like Mimi. Show of hands, what was Mimi holding? Snow cone. there you go. I heard you. Good job. Good job. Smoke on. This isn't just a regular party. Mom held me tight and smiled. She lovingly told me of my history. Dad held her hand. She told me about what my ancestors had experienced. So now he's getting a history lesson. So it's like, okay, people are celebrating freedom, but tell me the story. So now his mom is starting to tell him a little bit about his history, okay? A very important history, to be clear. About abuse and pain, heartache, facing the rising sun, and how they overcame till victory is won. I understood why it's important to celebrate, sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Why we drove the miles and strangers smiled, proud to have escaped the nightmares. Out from the gloomy past, why fireworks fell slowly over the ocean as a crowd became a mass choir that sang the Negro National Anthem, loud as the rolling sea. All right. Now, before I finish with my presentation, I'm going to read to you my note, the Arthur's note, okay? Juneteenth has always meant so much to me, even as a kid. And so I want to read that to you because it's a special day, and I want to share the specialness with you. When I was a kid, my parents took my sister and me to a Juneteenth parade in Grimes County. Standing beside the tailgate of our truck, we watched black cowboys and cowgirls tip their hats as they rode tall, beautiful horses and waved to the crowd. We heard the booming sounds of marching bands. Freshly washed cars and trucks gleamed and cruised in formation in the bright summer sun. Our noses loved the smells of cotton candy, funnel cakes, and turkey legs as we drank big red sodas, careful not to spill any on our nice clothes. However, what I remember most was the pride that everyone had. Pride in the past, the present, and the future. Strangers spoke to strangers. Families and friends shook hands, tightly hugged and fellowshipped, like at church, but completely different at the same time, laughing in ways that filled the air with joy like songs and colorful balloons. It was the type of day that I wanted to last forever. Juneteenth, surrounded by people who knew me as well as those who did not, but who loved me and my history all the same. I hope that readers, especially young readers, feel proud, excited, and happy when they read this book. I hope that my words create joy about the most significant holiday that celebrates freedom and hope, the ending of slavery, Juneteenth. Thank you. All right, thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Really thought the book. I appreciate that. All right. Before we jump into the question and answer part of things, I want to give you a symbol to think about, a symbol to reflect on, okay? And one reason why this book is so important for everybody to appreciate. Everybody can appreciate this text. Some years ago, I was very fortunate to have been able to travel to West Africa, to be able to travel to Ghana. And when I went there, I was studying, I was also teaching at the University of Ghana, and I learned about what are called Adinkra symbols. Can you say Adinkra? Adinkra. All right, Adinkra, right. Adinkra symbols are like hieroglyphics. They're pictographs where images represent words and they represent ideas. And so there was one picture called Sankofa. Can everybody say Sankofa? Perfect. Sankofa. All right, Sankofa. And so the symbol of Sankofa is that of a bird. And I want you to understand this. This is where I give you a little bit of the history. The Sankofa bird, its feet are facing forward. So just like I'm facing you, its feet are facing forward, the bird. Its beak is facing backwards. Its beak is facing backwards. It is placing an egg on its back. You have a bird that is facing forward, or its feet is facing forward, the neck is stretched backwards, and it is placing an egg on its back. That very strong symbol, it means being in the present. You all are here right now. You are in the present, right? But also, as you learn more about culture and history, and you read and you learn, you can also look back at the past. So just like the young boy in the story, he was looking back at the past. His mom was telling him about history. But that egg represents giving to the future. So you are here, you are learning about history, that's the bird looking backwards, and then you are going to tell other people and help other people to learn that it is important to celebrate freedom, celebrate family, and also embrace differences. Is everybody good on that? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Everybody say Sankofa? Sankofa. All right, so thank you so much. At this point, Q&A time.
We're going to do Q&A. So before we start Q&A, one more before we start Q&A. If you wanted to buy the book, Blue Willow Bookshop is here afterwards. And there will be 10 giveaway books that we're going to add to our summer reading books. So as you read for the summer, you can earn your book prizes. That's going to be an option for, we have a few of those that we can add. And there's a bunch in the library system too, which he signed today. Thank you very much. So when you check them out in the library, look for a signed copy. And you'll know that it happened today. So you were there. Okay? So if you have a question, please raise your hand and I will walk over to you and let you ask your question, okay? So our question is, who is the person in the yellow shirts on this page?
The young lady over there.
We're not entirely sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that person represents somebody who is in the present celebrating history. Okay. But there are other familiar faces that you might know. Do you recognize anybody? Martin Luther King Jr. Harriet, good job, buddy. Harriet Tubman. Let's give him a hand. Let's give that man a hand. All right. Good job. All right. Good job.
Do we have another question on this side? What's the question?
I got a superhero.
We have someone with a superhero. We're going to think about it.
All right.
All right, let's come over here.
Why is it named Juneteenth?
Well, good question. Why is it named Juneteenth? Okay, so it is a holiday. So in 1865, there was an order by General Major Granger who came to Galveston, who said that all slaves were free in Texas. And so Juneteenth represents June 19th, the day that we officially celebrate. But here's something else that you might find interesting. In 1865, okay, in 1865, Juneteenth, which we celebrated yesterday, was actually the same day that the slaves felt that they were free in Galveston. So that's just a little history lesson. So yeah, June 19th was the day slaves felt that they were free. Great question.
Great question. More questions? More questions, parents, staff?
How long is your writing process?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. How long is my writing process from book to book? Okay. So the first book that I wrote with HarperCollins was Kicks, and that process was a really exciting process, as was this process. But after the success of Kicks, Harper reached out to me, and they said, "Ben, would you want to write a Juneteenth book? Would you like to write a Juneteenth book?" I said, "Absolutely." They didn't even finish their sentence. I said, "That's a very significant holiday. It means so, as I just read, means so much to me." And so, as they were actually presenting the project to me, I started drafting while I was on the phone. Now, it took me about a month to make sure the cadence was just right. How many of you have heard Lift Every Voice and Sing? Have any of you ever heard Lift Every Voice and Sing? Okay, so in this text, you hear the lines that are borrowed from Lift Every Voice and Sing. I am a drummer, I am a percussionist, and some of you might have seen me counting beats. And so as I was writing this book, I wanted to make sure the meter, the rhythm was just right. So I spent a month just trying to get the meter just right. But the overall process took a few months just to make sure it was what I wanted it to be. And I was so excited that the illustrators, they signed a board on this project because this is the only that has an all Texas connection. The illustrators are from Texas, I'm from Texas, and so being that Juneteenth, Galveston, Texas, it's a special project. But thank you for asking about the process. Okay.
What was your decision doing self-publishing? Like, does it give you a larger reach? And then, like, you chose firms?
Oh. Okay, all right. So great question about self-publishing versus publishing through a publishing house. I have a background in poetry, so I started in poetry, and I published with smaller presses. Then I really enjoyed being able to publish with smaller presses. Then later I decided I was going to, after I transitioned into writing for young adults, I wanted to go with a larger house because I wanted to be able to reach more people. I say if you want to publish independently, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to have a conversation, I can talk to you after the fact and give you some options in that space. But it's really what you feel most comfortable doing and how you feel your work can best be recognized if that's what you're looking for, and publicized as well. So, but thank you for that question.
That's over here. I'm gonna go you, and then you, okay?
Why did you share this letter? Any other letter? Why this letter?
Oh, all right. That's a great question. So the question is, why did I share this book with this library? Well, somebody told me the coolest kids in Houston go to this library, so that's why I came to this library. So give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. I'm being good too. All right. Yeah. That's why I came to this library. Oh, okay. What does the flag mean? Okay, so the Juneteenth flag, right? The Juneteenth flag, as you recognize, you'll see red, white, and blue, much like the American flag, right? So those colors represent freedom. Those colors represent struggle. They represent overcoming and accomplishments. So the Juneteenth flag was created to show that African Americans, the enslaved, are still part of the fabric, part of the world. And so I'm glad you recognize that. When you get a second, when you get home, research when the flag came about. Research what those different colors mean. That's an awesome question.
How many books have you made?
Oh, that's another great question. Thank you. So I've written 13 books for adults. So I've written 13 books, collections of poetry. This is my second picture book. Next year, there is going to be Specs that comes out. And then there's another book that comes out next year I can't talk to you about. And so I'm very fortunate over the next 5 or 6 years, you'll see at least 1 or 2 books that have my name on them.
Is it true that even though the slaves in Galveston found out they were free, that it took months for other slaves in the small towns and smaller places in Texas to find out they were free. A lot of the slave owners wait until after the harvest.
That's exactly right. Yeah, in other states, slaves also found out that they had been liberated as well. And so you understand that the slavery was an institution, right? And so, so yes, that is a sad reality, but that is the reality. So thank you for that question.
Okay, next question. Anyone have a question?
All right, so great question. Oh, I'm sorry, let's ask more.
The question is there any hidden gap in the illustrations in the book?
All right, so let me just, I'm gonna model this for a second. Okay? All right, so I'll use just one of the pages for kids as an example. All right, so the question is, are there hidden things in Juneteenth where things are hidden in Kicks? So if you look at Kicks, Reggie Brown, the illustrator, put me in the book. Okay, you see that? Right, so I'm hiding in plain sight. You see that? I'm hiding in plain sight. So there are a lot of different things in this book, things that are hiding. A lot of visual artists are highlighted and represented in this book. One thing that I will tell you is the artist, the illustrator for this book is not the same as the illustrators in Juneteenth. And so the historical context was very important for the illustrators because of the significance. But what I will tell you is when you go to Galveston and you look at the absolute equality mural, you will see the same mural that you see in Galveston highlighted in the book at least 3 times. So there's not anything hiding necessarily. But I will say this, since you asked the question, in Specs, the book comes out next year about glasses, there are a lot of things hiding, okay? A lot of things in plain sight.
More questions? I have a question. When did you first realize how much you enjoyed writing?
Okay. When did I first enjoy writing? All right. So when I was younger, I used to get in trouble for talking in class. I used to talk a whole lot in class. Whole lot. I know none of you get in trouble for talking in class, but I used to. And I had an English teacher that said, you know what, man, you might want to consider writing a little bit more. You have a lot of things to say, but maybe you want to start writing, and maybe you want to start reading. So it was at a young age, when I was probably in 3rd, 4th grade, that I decided I wanted to read more. But then, even though I was not a good writer, I started practicing that. I will tell you, to this day, I am still a reader. I read all day, every day. Matter of fact, in my bag over there, I have one of my summer reads. Raise your hand if you are in the summer reading program or a summer reading program. Okay? All right, good. This summer, I am doing 60 and 30, which is something I came up with. I am reading 60 books in 30 days, okay? And so the reason I'm doing that is as I'm back and forth on the road, because I'm moving a lot with this book, I really want to keep growing in my mind. I want to keep learning. I want to be able to share conversations with young people as well as adults. So if you are not in the summer reading program, keep reading, because readers are writers. And at an early age, I understood the importance of reading and getting that foundation. Okay?
Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Why do the men that don't have any glasses or he has glasses?
Oh, you're observant. Are you an artist? You like to draw? Are you an artist? Oh, you're shy? Okay. All right. So I always wear my glasses. Matter of fact, I don't have a whiteboard to show you, but if you ask me to autograph your book, I always draw my face whenever I'm autographing books for young people. And I always have my glasses when I draw my pictures. But the photographer said, why don't you do something different? And I was like, I always have my glasses on. He was like, well, you gotta get a glare, blah, blah, blah. So it took me a long time to see if I liked that picture or not, but I just went with it. But I always have my glasses on, except right now.
What is your favorite children's book or children's author?
What's my favorite children's book? All right, so, wow. I will tell you. I'll take two of them. The first book that I fell in love with is The Little Engine That Could. Y'all know that book, The Little Engine That Could? Because that book taught me about being determination, keep pushing. So that book, the second book is Where the Wild Things Are. Y'all know where the wild things are? Because I felt a lot like Max as a kid. And so I told you I wasn't always like the most well-behaved young person. All right, so Where the Wild Things Are, The Little Engine That Could. Now, if you ask me my favorite YA book, actually not even YA book, but my favorite book of all time, it's The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. So Sandra is, she's by far a writer's writer. I lecture about her all the time. If you have a Sandra Cisneros question, come talk to me over here later. I'll be happy to talk about it. Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite book? Or what's his favorite book? What's your favorite book? You got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. You got plenty of time. Don't worry about it.
Any more questions? Good questions. Good questions.
Jason Reynolds.
Wait, ask me this question one more time. Everybody hear this. Ask me the question, please.
Jason Reynolds.
Oh, it's Jason Reynolds, my homeboy. Watch this. Jason Reynolds. Right. Here's an opposite demonstration. Here's where I show you what I was talking about. All right? Readers for Leaders. It's my book on the road right now. Spider-Man Suspended. Have y'all seen this book? Have you checked this book out? Jason Reynolds, he is a poet's poet. What I like about it is it has sketches of verse. So it's a novel in verse, which is a very popular form. Have any teachers in the house? Any teachers in here? Okay, what grade do you teach? Kindergarten. Novel in verse, spoken word for kindergarten, because nursery rhymes is a part of it. What grade do you teach? Okay, all right. So one thing that you should know, novels and verse have been around a long time, very long time, like more than 20 years, but they've become more popular in the last decade. Kwame Alexander, right, a good friend of mine, he wrote a novel and verse, a crossover, right? Have any of you seen the Disney Plus crossover series? I'm one of the writers for the crossover series, right? But what I want you to understand, thank you. What I want you to understand is this novel and verse is something that middle school students I think will appreciate. I'm actually preaching this title right now. And so you asked about Jason. You have a favorite? Jason Reynolds? Yeah. Oh, listen, I would say that Jason has the ability to just reach across audiences. But if you're looking for, I think one that can work really well, the track series with Ghost, Luna, Patina, and I can't remember the other one. That's probably around 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. But they get them still previewing that one. So yeah, so check them out. All right.
And we have Jason Reynolds books in the library system.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Readers are leaders. Readers are leaders.
Do we have any more questions? Any more questions? Guys, I want to remind you today that he read you a book, and if you're in the summer reading program, you can record that book towards your summer reading challenge. Make sure you record it and get credit. Okay? So if someone reads you a book, you can record that too. Now,
oh, and y'all should also know there are other books about Juneteenth as well, okay? So, and 4th of July and other holidays, so it's not just my book as well. So
yes, we have other books, and we're always So, I just want to remind you that Blue Willow Bookstore is here if you want to buy a copy that you don't have to return to the library.
And you'll be be signing those
And
copies.
it's signed, you can bring it to the table here. Also, if you find a library copy that's not signed, you can bring that to the table. Miss Jasmine's up here, and Miss Jean from Blue Willow, Mr. Van Garrett. Can you give him a big thank you for coming today? So thankful you could be here today. And we are so thankful you could be here today. Please come back to the library and check out some books, guys, and thank you again.
Thank you.